Very much. And out front now, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, a member of the Intelligence Committee. And Congressman, thanks for being with me. I mean, just to be clear, the president today says he had no tapes in a tweet. The top Democrat on your committee, though, Congressman Adam Schiff, says that still doesn't mean there aren't any tapes. He is holding firm to tomorrow's deadline for a formal response from the White House. Do you think, Congressman, that someone on the president's staff or someone in the intelligence community made or has tapes?
Good evening, Aaron. Thank you for having me back. And it's our job to find out. I honestly don't know whether there are tapes or not. The president suggested it. We put a deadline out there. And when you read that tweet, it's like reading a text message that someone sent to you but didn't mean to send to you. And you know that that's not the voice that you normally talk to that person in. We've all come to know the president's tweets over the past few years. That doesn't sound like the president. It sounds like a lawyer. So we have a duty to find out if tapes did exist and report back to the American people.
Now, we've said that at least 4 government agencies, right, have had to come out and do the work to see if they were recording devices or if they had tapes, Secret Service among them. I mean, do you think it's possible that somebody was surveilling the president? I mean, I will have to agree with you. The tweet was very clear and lawyered that he himself didn't have anything, right? I mean, certainly it raises that question. But do you think it's likely?
There's no evidence that anyone in the intelligence community is out to get the president or surveilling the president. Now, there have been stories that Donald Trump in the past has recorded conversations before he was president, so you can't rule that out. But to your point about the cost here, it's not just the cost to the taxpayers, it's the cost of what he has done to Washington. We have been brought to a grinding halt, not able to work on the issues that people have sent us here for around jobs, health care, and the dreams they have for their kids' education. And that, I think, is the biggest toll.
So it's been 41 days, okay? 41 days, Congressman, since the president's initial tweet suggesting, when he put tapes in quotes, right, talking about Jim Comey. 41 days later, he admits he doesn't have anything. The White House today, you heard the deputy press secretary, or we heard what she said, denying the president was playing a game. What do you think he was doing?
Well, he either had a taping system, and we're going to have to find it, or to me, it sounds like he was trying to chill or intimidate James Comey. And what's remarkable about that is that James Comey didn't know either way whether there were tapes and came forward anyway. So if there were tapes and he told a lie to Congress, he risked perjury. So I think that goes to show just how believable and how credible James Comey's testimony was, which is very damaging for the president.
So I just want to play a clip from that, because the president's initial tweet about there being tapes was the reason that James Comey said he decided to leak the memos, right? Here's how Comey put it in that testimony.
The president tweeted on Friday, after I got fired, that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
When the president came out and said that there were tapes, and then James Comey came out and said his version, didn't change it. He said he felt he was directed and ordered by the president to stop the investigation into General Michael Flynn. Did the president succeed in his tweet at casting doubt on Jim Comey?
No, there are no good outcomes. Again, either he secretly recorded the FBI director or he was trying to keep the FBI director from coming forward. Now, what I think Americans want is for this investigation to move forward in the House, the Senate, and also with the FBI, but also for the president to stop obstructing and keeping Washington from being focused on everyday concerns. And he just continues to do that. By the way, he announced this today at the same time the Senate was releasing their very harmful Affordable Care Act repeal.
So you mentioned where this investigation is going, and I want to ask you something important. CBS and Time at this moment actually are reporting, Congressman, that your committee is investigating whether Trump campaign associates obtained information from hacked voter databases. That's obviously a very significant thing. Is this something that you are, in fact, looking at?
One of the goals of the investigation is to understand the hacking that Russia conducted that went into voter information databases. There's no evidence right now that any information that Russia viewed or may have obtained was passed along to the Trump campaign. But
no
I
evidence
do believe,
at this point, you're saying? Okay.
No. But I do believe there's a lot of evidence to review, and at this point, we're going to review all the evidence. We want access to everything before we can make a conclusion about it. But right now, if we find that evidence, we should be able to follow it. But right now, drawing no conclusions on that.
Okay, but you're saying the
report.
evidence you have doesn't show it, but there's more evidence out there. So you're not ready to conclude that there was no getting information from these databases.
Let me just be clear, Aaron.
Yeah.
In the public intelligence report, we know that Russia went into state voter databases. We want to learn if they obtained anything, and if they did obtain anything, who did they pass it to? So, we will follow that wherever it goes, but it's too early to conclude where that, if they obtained any information, where they passed it to anyone.
And before we go then, if they did pass it to anyone who was related to Trump, is that collusion?
Well, again, too early to say, and I would really rather just have access to all of this information before I draw any conclusions.
All right, Congressman Swalwell, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.